I know what you've been up to.
What have I been up to? Who is this?
You know who this is. Stop playing games. Listen to me very carefully.
Okay, I'm listening.
You're gonna give me back my identity.
What are you talking about?
You've been using it to try to get views on YouTube.
Dude, I don't...
And I've had enough.
You know, there's a mental institution I know about.
This is what's gonna happen. You're gonna cease your activities on YouTube and other social media platforms, or else.
Oh, am I?
Or else I'll do what I have to. Trust me, you don't want to know.
Alright, then you do what you gotta do. Is this conversation over?
Get some rest, man. You look tired.
Initiate Vigilante Mode.
What's going on, guys? Alright, it is like one of the hottest days of the year, at least in New York City, so just bear with me, alright? I'm a little like... ugh. We're talking about Jason Bourne. This is the 5th film in the franchise. This one is directed by Paul Greengrass, who directed the 2nd and the 3rd film. The first one was directed by Doug Liman. The 4th one was directed by Tony Scott, who was the screenwriter of the previous films, but he took over the Bourne legacy with Jeremy Renner. I liked that movie. I didn't think it was as horrible as people were saying. I definitely do think it was missing some things like Matt Damon, but I actually kind of liked the story. I like that the whole Bourne universe is not just about him. The first 3 are some of the best action films, in my opinion, of the last 20 years or so. Some things I really liked about this film: Alicia Vikander. I love her. I just think that she's got such a fierceness and a power on screen. And I really liked what she was doing with this role, Elizabeth Lee, this sort of agent who's kind of proving herself. And I guess you could say that there's also some undertones of her not wanting to just be perceived as some, you know, newbie, rookie female trying to prove herself to her male counterpart. She knows she's more than that, so she is stepping up to the plate to try to deal with the situation that's happening in this movie. I love it when sort of newer talents appear in these sort of old franchises, and they kind of bring some new energy and some new blood into it. So she was fantastic in the film. Something I love about the Bourne movies, I just love I love to see them hacking. I love to see them using like computers and stuff like that. I think there's something actually kind of exciting about the way that they photograph those moments, which is kind of hard to believe that this movie was set in this post-Snowden world, and they reference Snowden several times, like hacking and privacy and social media, all these things. I think it's cool how they feature an assassin in each one. The first one was Clive Owen's character, the second one was Carl Urban, the third one was Edgar Ramirez, and now in this one you have Vincent Cassel, who is a great actor. He's got a great swagger to him, and his character was very well executed in this film. There's a lot of really interesting drama between him and Bourne. I enjoyed that. A little too much shaky cam for me, especially towards the beginning of the film. I feel like towards the middle and the end of the movie, it kind of like leveled out, and I guess I just got used to it. But it's been a while since I've seen so much use, and it took me out of the movie, and it just makes it really difficult as an audience member to follow what's going on in the action. I think the movie did have some great action sequences. I don't think any of them really rivaled or outdid any of the action in the previous movies, but it was nice to see non-CGI, organic kind of action sequences, car chases, fight scenes, and they looked great aside from the shaky cam. I want to talk a moment about Riz Ahmed. Riz Ahmed right now is probably my favorite up-and-coming actor. I just think it's fantastic how we're seeing a guy of Middle Eastern descent who is becoming a star, and he's really proving himself in some great projects right now. He's on The Night Of on HBO. If you're not watching that, give it a shot. He's also gonna be in Rogue One. I just think he's really talented. He plays a really interesting character in this film, kind of like a Mark Zuckerberg type, who has some ties with CIA from his earlier days in his career. I'm happy that we're seeing a guy with like some leading man chops, who is of that ethnicity, really come into prominence. So he did a great job in the film. This film really brings into prominence questions about privacy and internet hacking and kind of like the world that we live in now. We really put ourselves out there for the government to utilize any of our social media posts at their disposal and for whatever purposes they so choose. I mean, anybody who knows even some relatively simple hacking procedures could completely just go into your Facebook account and use it to whatever needs that they might have. It's kind of scary thinking about that. It doesn't really take a lot to imagine them using your Facebook profile to, look at people who might be on a terrorist watch or whatever. I was very engrossed in that aspect of the movie. There were some great scenes, some great moments, some great filmmaking. Paul Greengrass has certainly still got it. Felt like the first act was a little slow and I wasn't really hooked until Act 2 of the movie. Julia Stiles returns in this role, in this film, as Nikki Parsons. She's been in all the Matt Damon Bourne movies, and they've given more to her character as the films progress. I wasn't really that invested in her role or her character. I don't know what exactly was the problem, but I just wasn't really that invested in her plot thread in the film. Tommy Lee Jones was great, despite the fact that he's kind of phoning it in. He's just like one of those actors that doesn't really have to do much to be entertaining, because it's almost like his droll and sarcastic sense of humor just really is enough. Alright, let's see what we got here. We're looking for every outhouse, doghouse, dollhouse, and house that we got here, and we're gonna find it. I don't care! And I think he did a great job in the movie. This film really feels formulaic. It feels just like the other Bourne movies in a lot of ways. I'm wondering how much more they can really reinvent the franchise. It was the same beats as the other films, and that's kind of a pro and a con. We've had 20 some odd James Bond films using the exact same formula for each one, and we still keep coming back to it and are still entertained by it. Alright, so let's talk about Matt Damon. Now look, Damon, he's definitely one of our best. I mean, I think he's like one of those actors who I sometimes consider to be more of a movie star than like a really great actor. Don't get me wrong, he's a good actor, for sure. He's proven himself time and time again. This movie, I just felt like he was really trying to squeeze out some tears. I felt like he was pushing it a little too hard. He was a little indicative. I didn't really enjoy his performance in this Bourne movie as much as I did in the other ones, but I still thought he was fine. I feel like Alicia Vikander really carries this movie. I was most invested in her character and the Riz Ahmed character. All in all, I don't think this movie, just like Suicide Squad, was as bad as the critics were saying. Not as great as some of the older ones, and not as bad as people were saying. So I'm gonna give this movie a B-. I thought it was fine. It was entertaining, and especially as it progressed, I definitely felt myself more invested in the movie. Alright, so that's my review of Jason Bourne. What did you think of it? Do you think that this movie stacks up well against the previous movies? Can you leave a comment? Let me know. Also, I did do a Rogue One reaction to the trailer review. It seems like you guys out there like these reaction videos, so I will maybe do some more of those in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe to Vigilante Mode Reviews, guys.
Vigilante mode deactivated.